phone numbers,
yes,
and
yes,
I should just say, take a look there. You're looking for your cousin,
yes.
Bill Lum.
Yes, I'm looking for my close cousin, Bill Lum. He was in One World Trade Center. I think he was working on the 100th floor. Last time somebody heard from him was 8:20 in the morning, because Bill always gets there early, and that's the last time some of his coworkers had heard from him.
Well, thank you, and good luck to both of you. And thank you for sharing, and I hope that you can provide each other with some information.
Thank you.
And Aaron, this is what's happening here. There are people milling around. They've been putting up posters, many of them washed away now by the rain, but still walking around trying to meet up with anybody who would have any information, going from hospital to hospital. One of the final stops that the people who come to the Missing Persons Bureau make after they fill out the paperwork, after they meet with a detective, is to go downstairs and to check the many lists of people who have been admitted to hospitals, or the short list at this point of people who have been confirmed dead. So it's a hard place. The other point I have to make is that this morning I spent a good amount of time talking with one of the Red Cross representatives, a man named Jack Herman, who coordinates all of the disaster and mental health services. He said they have about 100 counselors inside milling around. He said those counselors are hugging and crying along with all of the families who've come here today and yesterday as well. Aaron.
Hillary, thank you. It's such a desperate scene down there. Thank you. We, on the other side of the monitor, on the right side there, see the president's helicopter on the lawn of the White House. The president beginning that short, hour-long or so journey here to New York, where he will join with political leadership here in support of the rescue workers and in support of all of those who have lost their lives and all of those who are waiting at the Armory for word on a loved one, and all of those who have been touched by the tragedy. Judy.
Aaron, here at the National Cathedral in Washington, just a short time ago, we heard President Bush saying, we see the character of a nation in what we've seen in the last few days, and we see that in part in the work of the rescuers. We have two rescuers with us right now who heard the president's words and who took part in the rescue efforts at the Pentagon in the last few days. I want to introduce them to you now. This is Dennis Young, a firefighter based at Fort Myer in Virginia, but at the Pentagon when that American Airlines plane hit the building. And also Captain Dennis Gilroy, you're also based at Fort Myer.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to come to you first, Mr. Young. You were in the building, and how close when the plane hit?
Approximately 75 to 100 feet away.
What happened?
It happened so fast. There is no way to explain what happened. One minute I heard a noise. The next minute we were in a ball of flame. I mean, why I'm talking to you now, only God knows.
Were you knocked unconscious?
No, ma'am, I wasn't. I walked out of the building without a scratch. Everybody that was in the building with me and the two firefighters that was with me, all were injured. How I got out of that building without anything happening to me, God himself can only tell.
Well, you're a firefighter with 18 years experience. You were at the fire station, which is inside the Pentagon. What did you do when you realized this had happened? What did you do next?
I obviously got out of started to get out of the building, and I went out into the app bay. And when I walked into the app bay, it was literally pieces of fire here and there from the explosion.
The app bay being?
Where we store the truck at.
Mm-hmm. Fire truck.
Yes. And I had gotten my firefighting gears. I just picked it up in my hands and walked outside. When I walked outside, I had realized what had happened. I mean, there was pieces of airplane everywhere.
Were there people? Did you see?
There were people trying to get away from the Pentagon. I helped maybe 3 of them, out, and then I went out into the field and I put my bunker gear on, and then I went back and I've got some rescue equipment, or first aid equipment, and took it out to where some of the people were injured, but I only helped about 3 or 4 people. And then by that time our captain was down there at the fire station.
Captain Dennis Gilroy,
Yes,
24 years experience. How did you learn what had happened? What happened?
We were in the middle of an ARF class at Fort Myer, and it was our second day of an ARF class. ARF is an acronym for Aircraft Rescue Firefighting. So it was our second day of this class, ironically enough, and we were just talking about the fuel loads and so forth of different aircraft and where the fuel pods are located. And we heard the crash, actually we heard a noise, and then one of the other firefighters that was with Mr. Young, which was Alan Wallace, and the second one was Mark Skipper. Those 2 individuals had just finished checking the fire truck for the day and had it parked outside, and they come around the side and they were in front of it and they saw the aircraft coming towards them. They ran. They were both rendered.
They saw the aircraft
yes,
coming.
ma'am. Approximately 25 feet off the ground is what they told me, and both of those are off. One of them's here today. And Mr. Wallace, he went home to Ohio to be with his family. They saw the aircraft coming. They ran. They had no other reaction.
To get out of the way.
To get as far away as they could as possible. They made it approximately 25, 30 feet, and one of them was rendered unconscious, and that was Mr. Skipper, but briefly. And then they got their composure back together, realized what was going on. They connected up with Mr. Young. Between the combination between the 3 of them, they rescued approximately 8 to 12 people out the windows.
The windows at the Pentagon.
Yes, ma'am, which were no longer there, of course.
Right.
And they did what they could. They tried to get the
Did these people survive, or?
I don't know at this point.
Yes, most of the people that come out of the windows were people that were pretty much physically able to get out, but they needed some assistance.
Now, Mr. Wallace tried to start the fire truck that we had. There's a brand new fire truck that was on location. He got it running, however, it was totally incapacitated. It was no use to him. But he was able to use the radio to put out the mayday that they'd been hit by an airplane. And being in the class, we had the radios on there, so we knew exactly where they were, and I knew at least one of them was alive at that time. So we responded from there, and we knew the quickest ways in. We was one of the first units there, along with Arlington, and they were coming in on South Parking. We was coming in a different way. So we was able to get our truck up on the pad and set up a water curtain to try and help more people out and to cover our guys. And we just went from there, and it just escalated after that.
Mr. Young, how long did it take you to realize it was an airplane? Immediately, you saw that it was an airplane that had come.
The time frame from when it I actually heard the noise, seen the explosion inside the building. I mean, you could see the explosion inside the building without being outside. Until I got out, I can't tell you how long that was, but it wasn't very long. But it seemed like it took forever.
And you say you don't know how you survived.
No, I don't. I mean, there's no reason why I should be talking to you right now.
You heard the service today. Were you both comforted by the words you heard today, Reverend Graham and others, the president?
It's the start of the healing closure for us, and you know, with the nation behind us and the world, when the healing will continue. Also, I'd like to say, you know, my prayers are with our brothers and sisters in New York. And hopefully they'll find as many as they can.
Were you comforted by the words you heard today?
Yes, I was. I think God spared me, and I hope that He spares our country and my fellow firefighters. That's basically all I can say.
Dennis Young, Captain Dennis Gilroy, and Dennis Young, we thank you both. Thank you both for being with us. 2 heroes, Aaron.
And there are many out there. Whether you are here in New York or in Washington or indeed around the world, because many of the people who are missing, in fact, are foreign nationals who worked in the investment community down in the Trade Center. If you log onto our website at CNN.com, we may be able to be helpful in identifying the missing and connecting and getting you information and the like. What you need to do is contact us. Make sure that you send a contact phone number with the picture of your loved ones so that people can get in touch with you. The picture will be posted on the website along with the contact numbers, and you need to know that. Email the photos to missing@cnn.com, or log on to our website at cnn.com and click on the link, and it'll get you to the right place. And again, for this to work, you need not simply to send the picture, you need to send a contact number, so if something does turn up, and we hope it will, people can get in touch with you. The Justice Department has now identified 19 of the suspected hijackers on Tuesday. That is just a part of a very broad, in fact, international investigation that is going on. CNN's Mike Betcher is handling the investigative side of this, and he joins us now from Atlanta. Mike.
Well, Aaron, earlier this morning we had a list with 18 names, but this is the updated list. Let's take a look at it. The only difference between the FBI list and the list we presented to you this morning is that additional name and some slight changes in spelling. On American Airlines Flight 11, which was the flight from Boston to Los Angeles, which flew into the Second World Trade Center tower, Walid al-Shari was a passenger, Wael al-Shari, Mohammed Atta, Abdul Al-Amari, Satam Sugami. On United Flight 175 from Boston to Los Angeles, which struck the South Tower, the first tower to be hit, Marwan al-Shehi, Fayez Ahmad, Mohad al-Shari, Hamza al-Ghamdi, Ahmed al-Ghamdi. On United Airlines Flight 93 from Newark to San Francisco, that is the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania in the field. The names are Ahmed al-Haznawi, Ahmed al-Nami, Ziad Jarrah, Saeed al-Ghamdi. And finally, American Airlines Flight 77 from Dulles to Los Angeles. That is the aircraft that rammed the Pentagon. And this is where the additional name has come in. Originally there were 4, now there are 5. The additional name will come at the end. Khalid al-Dihar, Mahed Moked, Nawaf al-Hazmi, Salem al-Hazmi, and Hani Hanjour. That is the additional name provided by the FBI today. So that official list out, it was released during the service. So let's take a look at this and this list and see where some of these people have gone. One in particular, Mohammed Atta. We know quite a bit about him and the trail he took starting back in the 1990s when he lived in Hamburg, Germany. Now this was a transatlantic operation. Shortly, a few years after he lived in Hamburg, he came to Venice, Florida in May of 2000, and there he had his initial flight training in Venice, Florida, where he learned how to fly at a flight center there. Later on, we've tracked him to Coral Gables, Florida, and in Coral Gables, he rented an apartment. The man who was giving him flight training there was a person who didn't like having Atta in his house and another man. Atta was staying in that home, so Atta had to find a new place to live, and that was in Coral Gables. At Opelika, Florida, we know that he went to a place called Sim Center, which is a flight simulation company. Now, at Sim Center, he and 2 other men bought 6 hours of training time in a 727, in a simulated 727 cockpit. They paid $1,500 cash for that. Later, back to Hamburg, Germany. That was in February, and if you saw us yesterday, those pictures of the German police raiding an apartment there, that was the apartment of Mohammed Atta. They also looked at 7 other apartments in Hamburg, Germany. For some reason, he went there, and then he returned to this country at Pompano Beach, Florida, where he went to a rental car company called Warwick's. And at Warwick's, he rented 2 cars over the period of about a month. That second car he had for about 2 weeks, and he put 3,000 miles on that car, so he drove a considerable distance. He could have gone up and down the Atlantic seaboard in that amount of miles.